Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going.
Pretty good, you know.
I just want to
Stuff
say
and
before
things.
we really get started, for everybody who watches and listens, protection, I guess, make sure your volume button's close by, because I imagine today's show is going to get a little spicy. So, I just wanted to let you know that there may be some yelling. Not at each other necessarily, although that's always fun. I'm just saying.
I
There's
get
some
yelled at
stuff.
a lot about the volume of my voice in this show, so I always try to keep it even.
You fail at it regularly, but that's okay.
I do.
It's okay. I think the only person that wins at that is Baka, and it's because he's quiet all of the time anyway.
Yep.
True that.
Gold star for you, Baka. What games has everybody been playing this week?
Anybody?
Not everybody at
No?
once now.
Okay,
Come
then.
on.
Team fight, little Overwatch.
Oh yeah, Sigma came
I
out
think
this
it's-
past week. We tried that out
Yeah.
with the Overwatch.
Other
He's
than that,
weird.
I've been working all week.
Yeah, Baka's been working a lot this week. He's been really busy.
We played board games too. Thursday
Oh
night.
yeah, that's right. We played board games this week, and I'm sad Baka wasn't there for it. But we did have Red and Snitty and Newbie, so we had a pretty big group, and we played House
Betrayal at the haunted. Betrayal at the hill on. Betrayal.
Oh my god, it's
What
a super
seconds?
popular board game.
The house on
Hill
on
House.
Hill.
Yeah, the Haunted Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah, there we go. Why do we keep wanting to put haunted in it? I guess because haunt is one of the mechanics.
There's also a
Yeah.
movie called Haunt. There's like a version of that. It's like Haunted House on the Hill or Hill, something like that.
Something. There's hills
Haunted
and
Hill.
houses and possibly a haunting. You just smash them
It's a
together
really
and
good
eventually you'll
game.
find it.
It's super
Yeah,
fun.
it's a board game that has many variants in it. Like, you start out by exploring this giant mansion, which instantly gives it a clue feel, but instead of you knowing where all of the rooms are, you put the rooms down as you go. You draw them out of a pile and whatnot. And then at a certain point, a haunt will begin, and based on a few factors, it'll tell you which haunt it is, and we got kind of a...
We got a lame haunt.
We did. We got, basically, it turned into Clue, but you knew who the killer was, and so you had to try to do all of these specific things to clear your own name, and then by the time the police got there, and,
Nobody won.
we did not. I won. Look, I don't care. I had the best time, because my character was a little 9-year-old girl, and there's a thing in the room called the Mystic Elevator, where once you get in, every turn, like every time it's your turn, the elevator moves, so you have to roll and see where it's got, like what floor it's got to go to, and then I can put it wherever I want. So I just turned into the bellhop. I'm like, I'm not getting out of the elevator. I got my alibi. I'm just gonna ride the elevator for the rest of the game. I tried
me
to help.
forever.
I tried to come, like, Red and Chicken ended up stuck in the basement. And I got the elevator down there, but they couldn't get close enough to me. And so then I couldn't help them. So I just rode the elevator for a good hour. I just imagine my character, since it was a kid, was like, push all the buttons. All right, let's go.
That's great.
It was fun. We'll play it again sometime. Maybe next time on stream. That way people can watch it. But it was something else. I finished Devil May Cry this morning, too. It was fun. It was good. I could see the setup for the 6th game. I imagine that's a series that could probably go on for literally as long as they wanted it to, as long as they used a few key characters. You can always have an ending similar to that one where it's like, and we resolved things, but did we really? You're like,
So
I
did
don't...
they like? Does it fit in the series well?
Yeah.
Like, where would you rank
I
it?
thought it was great. Like, I enjoyed it very
I don't think
much.
she's played the original 3.
Okay, I struggle bust through the first one, and the second one is where I got stuck at, because I got stuck in this one place, and it was not happening.
Those games are not forgiving at all.
No,
Welcome
the
to
first
old
ones are
school
really
gaming.
not. Well, and this
Hey,
one, I can't remember if this mechanic was in the 4th one, and if it was, I didn't need it. But in this one, you earn golden orbs, like, every time you log in. This is one of those... This is a perfect example of a game where they wanted to do a live service game where it's online and they have aspects of that, but it literally had no effect on the gameplay. Like, I thought that it was dumb for them to even want to, But the only upside, like, because at times you'll be like, you load into a level and it'll be like featuring, and it'll have the gamer tag of whoever's playing the other character, but you literally never see them. And then at the end it'll ask you if they were stylish, and you're always like, I was just like, yes, because it gives them a gold orb if they get a stylish rating, and a gold orb means if you go down in a boss fight or something, you can use it to instantly come back with your full devil trigger gauge. So there was no need for that. I don't know why they decided to put in the online mechanic, especially since, it's a single player game. So at any point, like at one point, I was in a level that I knew there was another person in playing another character, but we weren't together because that only happened like twice. But I paused the game and walked away for 15 minutes because I was like, I'll go get a drink, and got distracted talking to Chicken. So, I mean, I guess it drops you out of the online and then fills in with an AI, because that's... I don't understand why they felt the need for that. I'm confused. Stop.
It's strange.
I guess it's because everybody feels the pressure right now to do a game as a service thing, because it's the fad. But I didn't see a need for it.
But everyone just wants to play online with friends.
I didn't even see those people half the time. I think the first time I actually saw another player, it was somebody. He was way off in the distance, and I watched the character jump over a bridge and then dash forward, and he dashed backwards immediately, and I was like, that's weird pathing for an AI. Oh wait, is that a person? And that's the only time I saw him in that whole level. The gameplay has no bearing on each other. I don't know why they did that. But whatever. It was a good game though. It's weird. A lot of fun. I recommend it. I had a good time.
Cool beans. I played some more of Oxygen Not Included, which I enjoyed. I thought it was great. But then I decided that I was going to play back through Destiny 2 randomly for some reason. So I started playing through it. It's random, but I did it. So I was playing through Destiny 2, and I say this every freaking time I pick up the damn game, which is, those mechanics are so good. Why couldn't you give me a good fucking game to go along with it? But I mean, to be fair, the plotline on Destiny 2 is there is actually a plotline versus the first one. So it is weird though, because what I don't like about games like that is the fact that when they create an expansion, because everybody's levels have to go up too, they put random characters that are out in the middle of nowhere that you have to be like a 605, which so if you're just starting out for the first time, if you go into an area you have to go into in order to be able to do a plot line, you can't get past this dude. So it's like very difficult to get past certain areas.
Giant high-level mobs in random
zones? Would just be like one large character, be like one of the big purple ball-looking things, the little sort of things. It would be one of those. It is like a 605, or it'll be, one just big giant character that you have to. Yeah, it's like, I get it.
That seems like a terrible mechanic.
I wonder if they were in it. Here's my thought process. I wonder if that was in it from the beginning, or if they're in it now, so that people who are going back through to pick up stuff but are already a higher level have something worthwhile to do while they're there.
They're an expansion. They're from an expansion, because I've played through that game enough to know, because I played with No Pants. We grinded through that a lot, and these characters were never there, and they've got these little drops that they do too. And I'm like, what is this? Why is this here? Why would this not be on like an extra planet that you've added into the game or something similar to that? Or why wouldn't it be
phased so that if you're a low level you don't see it, but if you're
phased or scaled?
Yeah,
right.
Either one would have been fine. I guess.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I thought that was dumb that they added that in there. But the other thing that I started playing the Remnant game, Remnant from the Ashes, and I started playing that yesterday. If you're not a fan of Dark Souls,
don't play this.
Don't play the game. No, it's, to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Dark Souls just because of that grindy aspect of it, but I never got upset with the game. Where Dark Souls, I would rage quit in a heartbeat. With this one, I think it's because you got guns. It just makes it a little difficult, but it's hard, and I like it. Plotline wise, I'm very intrigued. It's set in an alternate universe, which I think is neat. The premise behind it is your character is trying to make his way to an island, or her island, depending on which way you want to look at it. They're because you can customize your character at the beginning, and then while you're there at this place that you end up getting to, you find out that in 1968, it was either 68 or 66, something just traumatic happened across the entire world, and so people had to go into these bunkers and be able to survive, and they're fighting against this thing called the root, which look like trees.
I mean, that makes sense.
My brain is a pun. Everybody knows this, so we're trying to get to the root of the problem. Like, I don't understand why you would do this for this, but all right, whatever. So, but it's like, even to the aspect of, like if you're on Dark Souls, one of the ways that you save the game is you sit down at a fire, and that's how it saves all your character stats and all that. Same thing. The only thing I'm very happy about is the fact that you keep your XP, so you don't like go out into the world and have to go find your soul in order to be able to get that back. But it is to where you have to kind of keep an eye on your inventory and things like that, and anything you've used in your inventory, if you die, you go back through it, you don't have it, so you have to
so it's a one-time use, a finite
so it's a one-time. There's one-time use, with the exception of a thing called a dragon heart that some dude gives you, and the dragon heart you can use up to 3 times, and that resets anytime that you've slept, or anytime which is when you reset, or anytime that you die. That one resets as well. So, and your ammo does the same thing. So, but you get to pick up ammo from different characters and stuff. But it's, plotline wise, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just very difficult. Trying to get past that first level alone took me like 3 hours. So this might be a long gameplay. It's just saying. Might take a while to get through it, but it's, everybody that was watching last night really enjoyed it, and one guy came in and he goes, "Now I feel like a bad gamer because he watched me beat this boss, but it took me a while to beat him." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Just the way you beat him, because I figured out a glitch for that particular boss and just
you cheesed
it. I didn't cheese it. It's their fault. Their fault.
Cheese.
Still
Figured it out.
cheese.
Oh, it was not easy to figure out. I promise. I died a lot. I don't want to know the death count on those. Now I kind of want one for my stream. Somebody could just pop up every time I die. Just count how many times I die in the whole thing, because it's going to be bad.
+1 death.
Yeah.
I don't think counters go up that high, though.
Ouch.
I was watching someone play that, and they were talking about how the talents, the traits and whatnot work, and I find it super fucking interesting, because you have to do specific things to unlock trait trees. Like, if you pick someone up a bunch, you'll unlock a reviver trait tree, or if you get picked up a bunch, you'll unlock the being revived trait tree, or experience trait tree, or gun trait tree. Like, all of these different things it unlocks based on your playstyle, and then you can enhance your playstyle.
Well, and you start off like your archetype that they give you 3 choices at the beginning, like most do. You got a range, mid range, and then you're more barbarian, smaller melee person, right? So I chose the mid range because he looks like a cowboy.
Come on,
he's got
cowboy.
like the flat brimmed hat, and it's got like, it's so cool. I was like, yes, I want that. But it's also, it kind of fits my play style too, so I wasn't really worried about it. But the guns that they have in it are just, the rifle and everything else that they have on there is very Western-esque. And I'm not really sure. The only thing I can figure is time period wise, it's now, like 2019. That's the only thing I can figure, but in an alternate universe. Because the whole premise is based on alternate universe.
Multiversing.
There's a lot of reading. If you go into there's like diaries and notes and stuff like that, and you go through and they have dates on them, and there'd be like from the 60s and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. But highly recommend it.
If Classic WoW wasn't coming out next week, I would have already bought that game. Like I've been looking forward to that game for a while, but unfortunately they decided to release it right around Classic WoW time. But yes, I've been looking forward to it.
Well, we're going to be grinding in WoW for a while.
Yeah.
Yes. But also, I will say that it is quite interesting how they've worked themselves around the Steam review system before their game is released. Because you buy the game, you get access to the game 3 days before the release, and you can't write reviews on the Steam thing until the day the game is released.
Oh, is it for like spoiler purposes or?
No, it's just a pre-order bonus. You get to play the game early.
Huh.
But you can't.
But the review thing is based on the release date itself.
Yes, which is a nice thing and a bad thing. You know, you trying to hide if your game is bad or if you're trying to give people like a chance to play it and get a review ready, so when they can get it. So far from the forums and everything else I've kind of been watching, it's probably going to get pretty good reviews. It looks like a really solid, fun, action RPG. So.
Yeah, it's fun, and I mean, you're going to spend hours at a time into the game. And I do like the fact that, like, if you grind through, if you're able to, like, because you're able to keep all the XP and you keep all the loot that you pick up too. So if you die and you want to go back to the area to be able to upgrade your weapons and do all that type of stuff, you can go ahead and do that and then just go right back to where you left off at and show back at, which I think is cool. So if you're having a hard time with an area, you just have to kind of grind through and build that character up a little bit more and keep going through. So it's well designed. It didn't feel tedious, which is what I feel with Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls, it's like, oh my god, really? You know, where this is like, you know, there's certain areas that were kind of, oh my god, this is harsh, but at the same time there were certain areas that I'm like, I'm so glad that, you know, this doesn't feel like it to where I want to rage quit. You know, I'm not heated in any way.
I will say that their scaling system is quite interesting. Whenever you load into a new zone, it takes your highest piece of gear. Like if your gun is a 5, it takes that, adds 1 to it, and then that's what you got. Which means if you have shitty gear, you're going to get popped like a balloon. You can hit them, but you're going to get hit extremely hard. Or if your gear is really high and you have a shitty weapon, you'll be able to take damage, but you ain't going to do shit. And it doesn't reset unless you change the whole world. Which you can reset worlds, I guess.
So is that what you have equipped at the time? Because yes, like you get to keep some in your inventory that you can just swap out.
I think it's equipped at the time. But don't quote me. It might be the highest item in your inventory too, like your highest available item that you can have. So that might also be why in certain areas, if you have a really good weapon, you go in, say, oops, well this place scaled really high, and then you can just go back, grind a little bit, get some more gear, and then continue on.
Oops. Well, you guys want to talk about some news stuff? I got some.
I didn't even get to talk about.
Well, go ahead. You jumped in with Baka, so I thought you were done. Go for it, chicken. I'm sorry.
No, it was just Overwatch and a lot of ARAMs. Also, I've started Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, you did.
I've played it one time. For as much as I played No. I've played Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door one time in one sitting, like 15 years ago. Right after it came out, I went to a buddy's house. He had it. I sat there from like 4 p.m. One day to 2 p.m. the next day and just played it all in one sitting. And unfortunately, I've never played it again since then. And as big of a fan of Paper Mario as I am, I decided to go ahead and play it.
How is it?
You should play the predecessor to all of it.
The Super Mario RPG. Yeah, I've seen that played a lot. I don't know if I want to go that far back.
Really good.
Are you asking how it aged?
I've actually played part of it. Yeah.
To be fair, this game is what sequels are supposed to do. Like, when you make a sequel, it's what you do. You kind of evolve it into something else. And they did. They kept, like, the skeleton and then just kind of made it different. Like, I like the whole audience. Like, in your fights, you have audiences now. Well, like, this is like a 15-year-old game. But you have audience members who will, based on how good you're doing, you'll get more, or they'll throw shit at you, which will stun your character, or they'll throw items on you. It'll pop up a little warning when someone's about to throw something at you. I've done it twice where someone was trying to help me, and I run out into the crowd and hit him with the hammer and then run back out.
That's what you get for trying to help.
What guy was trying to throw a can at me, so I ran out and hit him, and then ran back up and saw the little symbol pop up again. I hit it again, and he ran back out and hit a guy with a mushroom. I was like, no, don't run away. I'm sorry. Don't leave me. Oh.
Never try to help Chicken. That's the takeaway here.
Chicken wants to do it all on his own.
He'll run out now with a hammer.
I got
smash
screwed over RNG earlier for team fight tactics though.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't get like they. I didn't get any items except what I got in the little circle pull thing.
Oof.
I just kept getting gold, and I got most of my heroes up to the second tier, and everyone at like the three of them, Cho'Gath, Warwick, and Wallabear. I was on all three of them. I was one away from getting them to tier 3. Would not give me a single one of them.
Damn.
That was the game today. Go off. Go away.
Nice.
Yeah. You're done now?
I'm done with for the day with that. I'm just gonna paint my dragon and
be happy.
Oh, is that what they're calling it these days?
No. I finally got the airbrush stuff, so I'm starting to put coats on it.
Do we have anything else that we've missed in games that we played?
I believe that we're moving over to the news.
I don't want to cut anybody else off, okay?
I know,
Just
right?
making sure.
I think
time to
we're
rage.
good. All right, so let's start with something good, though.
Do we have two good
do
things
we
so that we
wanna
can start
end on
and
the
end with good? Is there two?
No.
Damn it.
No.
Only one good thing.
I guess we could just do all the other stuff, and then we'll finish with the 2 games that were announced this week.
Okay, that's good. Let's hold on to the good until the end so we can end on a high note.
All right. Well, let's see. Which one of these horrible
Let's go to the one
things?
that we all least care about, but we're always going to bitch about.
Okay.
What's that?
Let's go with Fortnite. Basically, they entered with the new season. They have entered a mech that's called the b.r.u.t.e into the system. So it would appear somebody was able to get into it, and they're able to blow everybody to smithereens. And it had a really, really high armor level on it as well. I think it's like 1,000 HP, I think, on it. And let's say that a normal human would be like 500, I guess. I don't know what the regular one is, but so yeah. So it's like really, really high.
It's a one-shot kill monster, essentially.
It has like heat lasers too, which will like just auto-target enemies and blow them up.
Now let's discuss why they wanted to introduce this really OP piece of garbage.
First of all, they're not removing it for that reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going
first
anywhere.
of all, they're not removing it because they want to make sure that the casual players have a chance to experience getting kills and getting wins, which usually ends up in a slippery slope of casualizing your game. Which in turn, there was a whole article, there are a whole string of tweets that I read that gave a really nice breakdown of it, and I do not plan on reading it out on
No, it would
stream.
take a minute. But basically, yeah, sum it up.
Go ahead. Okay.
The idea is that your game is original. Like when it starts out, you're gonna have a core base that are gonna play it really hardcore and are gonna be super into it. But that base hits a saturation point, and then after that, you have to want to continue to grow it. You have people that are not as good and not as hardcore into it that are gonna come into it, and you want those people to stick around and continue to recommend it so that it continues to grow. So you make it easier for them to come in and join in the content.
Reward them easier.
Yeah, you reward them heavier than you reward your core. Your core starts to sour because they're not getting rewards and it's becoming less challenging or too RNG heavy. And then your base shifts to the more casual side, being the base that the company's trying to appease. The core people leave. Who recommended those casual players to start playing that game? The core base that's leaving, so they stop recommending it. It stops growing. They have to worry about maintaining what they have now, which is a casual base that is not going to be about the competitive side, is going to be about the how do I get the easy win, which is what they're doing now. This is the tip of the iceberg for that. What they introduced this for was basically Epic felt like there were people that had never won or gotten first blood, so they wanted to give them a chance at winning. But the problem that comes in that is it's an RNG thing. It spawns in random places in the map, and it's too overpowered. So your base...
Well, and it was doing it too often, too.
Yeah, and
like,
your
I've heard
core
lots
base
of...
doesn't like that. I mean, that's an RNG thing, which Chicken has mentioned several times, never needs to be in an esports game. RNG needs to be not a factor because it needs to be about skill and not random objects that you can find that will make you instantly strong. And then it shows that slide towards, we want to introduce this to the casuals so that somebody who's objectively bad at the game can win matches against people that are objectively good at the game, because skill doesn't matter at that point. It's more about this guy got the mech and the other guy didn't have anything that could stand up against him, you know.
They did change some things with it too. When they did it, one of the things that they looked at was evidently when the lasers originally fired, you didn't know they were firing them or where they were firing them at. Now they've changed it to where you can see where they're actually being fired. So they did give them at least a heads up. The problem that because I watch a lot of Fortnite, even though I don't play the game and don't understand it, but I watch because I like the people playing the game. The biggest complaint that they have, like Mythic Trees, who's a gentleman that I've followed for a while, and love supporting him. The first time I ever watched him play, he was playing Fortnite. And he's amazing at the game, absolutely amazing at the game. But he took some time off. He's been playing Smite and everything else. So he came back to this mech, and he's good at the game. Like, he goes up and tries to do tournaments and all that type of stuff. And he is bitching and moaning about it too. So it's not like it's that mediocre in between player that's just gotten good at the game.
It's the competitive players that have a problem
and
with
it's streamers.
Yep.
It's streamers that are playing this game all the time, over and over again, and it's like, you're not going to listen to these people that are, I mean, like, give them, you don't have to give anybody an advantage, just make it to where, you know, people just need to learn to get good, really, essentially.
But that's the problem, though, is the gravy train.
Or if you don't have a ranking system, which they don't have an actual ranking system in their game.
Well, I mean, to be fair, their game is still in beta, so...
It will forever be in beta.
3 years later.
That's so garbage. But, I mean, it's made by the same company who opened a storefront that doesn't have a shopping cart. So are you fucking surprised?
I guess that's true. A little preemptive. But, I mean, this right here is what I've always said before. You know how, so you land with somebody, they happen to get a better gun than you, and they win the fight because of RNG. Well, this is on steroids. You land, you get a super good gun, they land, they get a mech, you're dead. There's no winning, especially since everything is destructible.
Well,
they'll just blow up your building and then kill you.
It is the epitome of participation trophy award culture. That is exactly what that is. You suck at this game, here's your participation trophy. You can say you won one now.
This is why you have to have a ranking system built into this, because if you were a Fortnite player, and let's say you have, I don't know, 500 hours into the game or 1,000 hours into the game, you're going to be better than somebody that's got 0 hours into the game.
Yeah, I mean, imagine loading into your first match and, like, Ninja and Summit are there, and you're like, well, I give up. Like, I don't ever want to play this game again.
What are you supposed to do?
I've come across one of them in a Call of Duty Black Ops game one time. They died before they found me. I made it longer than they did because I hid more. Once I saw that name in the kill feed, I was like, oh shit, time died.
That's probably a good idea. Oh man.
Good idea.
I just think that this is the tilt, because money is slowing down in Fortnite as far as people coming into it and spending lots, and so they're trying to shift that towards the more casual players that will hopefully want to spend more money because now they're winning at it.
Their esports side will die because
I think it's going to kill off the core part of it, and I think this is a terrible time for it to really start taking that dive, because it's going to start going down, everybody else is going to go, what do we do? And then bam, there's Halo.
Yeah.
Well, and
you're just making
why
it
in the
easy.
world why would this be the hill that you're going to die on to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're not taking out the mech. Okay,
we're not
like 90% of your base hates that thing. Why? Okay, I guess don't listen to them. What does any of the rest of us know?
It's not like
what
they
does
dropped.
your fan base know? I mean, they just play your game. They're just
they're the ones that are gonna leave.
So are losers and dickheads and.
See, this isn't like the Thanos thing where you had one item that you could get and become Thanos, and it was everybody against everybody type thing. It was, in this particular case, there's several across the map for people to be able to pick up.
Well, they did
so
that with
like
the
if there was
sword, too,
one.
didn't they? Wasn't there a
to
sword
be fair,
that was super OP?
I know a lot of streamers that actually liked the sword. because the sword you would be able to pick up and be able to use it, and they didn't have much of an issue with it, but other people had issues with it because they said it was too OP. Well, if that was OP and it was a fucking sword, so you actually had to get up and hit somebody with it, versus here's a mech
with heat-seeking lasers.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So yeah,
you might as well just give the mech just like a one button just to spam, and it just kills anyone on the map.
Pretty much is. I mean,
yeah, it pretty much is. You just hit a button and people start dying.
This is not in the article, but I don't know if you saw it. You remember a few weeks ago when we talked about that skin uproar because they had released a skin that came with a battle pass, but it was a different version of that skin?
Yes.
They did the same thing this week with a dog in a backpack. And it's like, do you really have the memory of a gnat? Do you not remember doing this literally like 3 weeks ago? We had this whole same thing.
There are just some companies out there that are just bad. I mean, I don't know how else to do this. This is like you just keep shooting yourself in the foot, or you have the smallest memory possible. It's like you do something, your community doesn't like it, then you do it again, and you're surprised that your community doesn't like it. Pikachu face.
Exactly.
Oh no, you guys don't like it. We told you last time. It's like, oh my god, how many times do we have to go through this? How many times do we have to have discussions about this? It's the same thing.
I just watched Detective Pikachu too.
Pikachu face. Oh, it's so weird.
I thought it was funny.
It's so weird. But I definitely see this as being a place where a lot of the bigger players jump off. Because that's frustrating. And that means that your skill doesn't matter to Epic. They want everybody else to win.
Well, it's because
it doesn't matter to Epic. They just want more people.
But that's
to come
the thing
in
is,
and
if you want this
shit.
to be an esport and you want it to make you money on that front, you can't have things like this in it. That is not esports friendly. It's not.
That's why you separate the worlds. You have a ranked world, and you have a
casual, quick play, whatever.
A casual world where people who don't care about winning or try harding or whatnot will play over there, and the people that want to try hard and win, you stick to your ranked, and and you put the mech in the casual. You let them play with it, and you take that shit out of.
Or if it was just like a weekly event or something, it's like, hey, everyone can get access to a mech or something, or to what is it, 100 people on there? Do something like, okay, well here's 50 mechs. I don't know.
You could almost
so that you end up in the end with like 30 mechs just fighting.
You could almost treat the casual like some type of test server too, because now you added into that casual part of it. And then you're going to have those people.
Overwatch and Quick Play. Quick Play is essentially where they figure out what's going on with a lot of stuff so that you can balance it. And then they balance the game specifically for the pro players. Like, I think Chicken had talked about May getting a nerf soon because everybody in pro is playing her.
Yes, they take the pros and then they see what they're doing, because leave it to the experts and the professionals to find out the best way to play your game.
But you could use Quick Play in Fortnite for stuff like that. He's right. You could use that as a really easy testing ground because you've got a lot of people playing it, and you can see how the community talks about it, which is something that Epic really needs to do, is listen to the community.
Well, technically, they have what they call the playground, where you're in there for an hour before the thing starts to shrink or whatever. And you could just invite everybody in there and just be like, okay, in playground this week, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, or whatever. It's just
that seems easy enough. I mean, they have plenty of ways to try out things before they just commit. So.
But the problem is they don't want to let anybody know they're going to do it, because then it gives away for the season, right? Yeah. So you want almost an early access, like a...
It is an early access game.
It is.
Facts. Well played. Okay, early access.
There you go. It's alpha still.
You get pre-access to early access.
Oh my god. How this game is
now
so
to that
popular,
point,
I'll
folks.
never know.
Oh lord. I mean, they're not the only battle royale that's in the news this week, though, and obviously not the only company making stupid moves. Apex Legends is also in the news. So
we get to move on
another free-to-play battle royale game with a different setup is in the news because their devs are calling people dicks and what was it, asshats and freeloaders.
Freeloaders.
We made a free-to-play game, you guys. Why are you not paying for stuff? Pikachu face.
First of all,
because we're poor.
Man, I need a button on my
things like bills
for the
and
Pikachu
housing
face.
and all the other correct stuff that's in ridiculous price points.
I think that if you look at this before we get into talk about what's on there, going back to what Grif just said, if you think about the way that their store was set up to start with, remember one of the things I said that I really liked about their store was the fact it was something you could always earn inside the game, which you can do on Overwatch as well. But they're leaning towards, they've gone past that point to where it's now stuff that you can't get inside the store, and that's why everybody's upset. But maybe you made it too easy to get the stuff that you could buy inside the store, and that's the reason that
you have to balance.
They're not spending the money.
Gently.
You know what I mean? They're not spending the money because there's no grinding. But anyway, go ahead, chicken.
Okay, so when they released the game, they said that they were not going to do loot boxes. Nothing, okay? We're good. We're not doing loot boxes. It's against our philosophy. We're going to... You could see whatever you get. I mean, they had the little Apex caches and whatnot, but you earned them in-game. You couldn't buy them. You could only buy them with in-game currency, too, that you earned. So, loot boxes were off the table for real monetization. Fair enough. Cool. All that stuff was fine.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, praise be. This is amazing. Look at these devs doing this great thing.
Apex. Exactly. So let's go ahead and turn that around real quick.
No, I don't want
They decided to backtrack on their word, and during this event, they went ahead and put event items in loot boxes that you could only buy.
Yeah, only actual purchase with actual money.
Holy shit, did the community fucking erupt just a day later. That shit did not take long for the community just to
Are you
explode.
surprised, though?
Not at all. No, because there's too much tension built up in gaming communities these days because everyone is getting nickeled and dimed to death.
Well, it's also the fact that they were told one thing and then that thing is now...
And it's straight lied to.
I mean,
well, that again is we don't have very much trust between the communities and the developers because we've been lied to so much. And you just go ahead and do it again and you don't expect any backlash.
I mean, before the show when we were discussing it, that's what I was talking about was, this happened with No Man's Sky to the point that we literally, nobody trusts devs anymore because of stuff like that. And it's well-intentioned, but unless you 100% know for a fact that something is one way or the other, don't give a definitive statement about it. And if you have to change something, talk with the community about it first. Don't just be like, hey, we're never having loot boxes, no real money purchases, we promise. Okay, but we changed our mind, so give us all your money now. Also, one of these things costs $170. Like,
for that much, I would want like an actual physical replica of that item.
I feel like that's part of the contention too, is the fact that they had the audacity to put $170 microtransaction, and calling it micro at that point is stupid.
Yeah, no shit.
Wait, is there, because now Baka said something that makes me wonder, is there merchandise you could purchase that is licensed from Respawn that is actually that is replica of any of the weapons or anything like that?
Or just any company?
No, from them. So for that game, for Apex.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Because that's, you think about it, Fortnite makes money based on the fact they got the microtransactions, but they also make money on the fact that they also have garbage.
Yeah, go to any Target or Walmart, and there's a whole Fortnite aisle in the toy section.
And so what I'm wondering is...
Fortnite Funko Pops that we cannot sell.
Well, that's not surprising. It's on the downside now. But yeah, I see where you're getting at, which is why would you, if you needed the money, why wouldn't you try to monetize it that way? But I also think the age range, like the demographic of that base is different. It's an older demographic base, and they don't buy as much frivolous garbage, whereas Fortnite is aimed at children. So who are going to buy a bunch of frivolous garbage and spend money on things like these cool wall posters and this cool Fortnite t-shirt and this cool Fortnite glass and but as Apex, on the Apex side of it, you'd have to make it for an older demographic, so it'd have to be more tasteful stuff that would cost more, and they may not purchase it. So that might be part of the thought process in that one,
but I mean, maybe so, but I think if you make the right product, people would end up buying it. I just think, I don't know, I just think it's dumb to or change your shop, say, hey, we're going to change it this way, lower the price of stuff that you can normally get in game, and then do have something that you can purchase otherwise. This is another skin, or do a monthly skin, weekly skin, whatever.
Battle
do something
passes.
rotation wise. Yeah, there's a way that Fortnite's making the amount of money it is that Apex is just not looking at. And the other thing is too, they're just now introducing solo modes for this special event.
Well, don't make a free-to-play game and then complain that nobody spends money on the microtransactions. Like, why are you surprised?
Yeah, but you got to have more of an option. But you got to give them more of an option to play too. Like, if you're only giving them, you have to be in groups of 3, and the amount of times that you can go into a random and everybody just goes their own way, and they ask for a solo mode. Now you got a solo mode that's available to you. You need to give other options for people to be able to play, because Fortnite has, to where you can play in 4s. They have it where you can play in 2s, and then you have it played by yourself. Whoops!
Stop hitting that mic! Oh my god!
Like most BRs, I'm pushing this away. I'm pushing it away. It's pushed away. So I think that's where they're messing up, is the fact that they're not giving the other options to be able to play the game. They're doing stuff that just doesn't make sense. They're like, okay, well, we got our 3-person. We're good. We're 6 months in. Actually, now they're 7 months in to the game. So you're 7 months into this game, and you're just now giving us a solo option? Like, that should have been 3 months in.
I think it's because they balanced the game around one character not necessarily being able to handle it. It needed to be a team, so that you had a support character, and then, because they had ideas for it being like a kind of Overwatch-esque, where you had specific defined roles, and those roles worked as a team in order to win. But I think that kind of game lends itself better to solo play. I don't think
they should have done it differently. They should have probably, if they wanted to do something like, if it was forced 3s, then you break up the map into sections, and then you let the 2 groups of 3 in each section. You let them fight out. Whoever wins, that section closes and moves them into the next section. So basically, it's
almost like a bracket match at that point.
Yeah, like a bracket match where you just keep fighting, and the map slowly kind of distorts and closes off areas and pushes the teams into each other. Which, I mean,
kind of like that one game we played where it was on those little grid parts, and it kept closing them off. Yeah.
Radical Heights had one of the best systems for that.
Yes. Like, if you want to do a forced team-based VR, then you need to go way outside the box.
You need to make it more incentive for the team to have to work together. Because, I mean, as it stands, you drop 3 teams of 3 in, and they all want this lone wolf mentality. That's just 9 people running around doing stuff.
Yeah, if you do it with, 2 groups of 3, you drop them into a specific square, and then you let them fight it out and then loot the area. Then your zone closes and you have to move into the next zone. Well, you're geared, and now you have to find the next squad to fight in the next zone. So it's almost like a death match style on a big map. Mm-hmm. Where you're done with this group, now you get to move to the next bracket, which is another group. And then it just kind of keeps moving in. I mean, probably a little complicated to make, but I'm sure it would be a lot of fun. It would
definitely be complicated, because you'd have to then find MMR groups, that you could put together to start your fights out.
Hell no, you play casual. You play casual. You best get good.
That mentality is long gone, chicken.
Yeah, no shit. Like, ugh.
I want instant satisfaction. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for y'all to win the game for me. I'm just gonna walk around.
All of these articles for today, it makes me wonder, like, my brain is racked how Nintendo is still surviving when they don't have any of the monetization, anything's in their games. Like, are their games so fucking good that people just buy them? And
yes, well, part of it too, though, is it's the name recognition that comes with it, because you know what you're getting when you buy a Nintendo game, and you know what you're getting because you've been getting the same game for the last 30 years, just reskinned every time. But
there's another reason. There's another reason Nintendo can be successful with that, though, just because of the fact there's only one platform that you can play Nintendo games on, and if I go right now and I go try to buy Super Mario Odyssey, it costs the same amount right now as it did the day it came out.
Yeah,
and guess what? It's totally worth it.
It's totally worth every penny. But people are going to buy it. That price never changed, and it probably won't change for another year. You know what I mean? Like, as they get closer to the next generation, they'll do it. But other than that, they're not going to change the pricing on stuff because they don't have to. People are still going to buy the game.
Games are just that fucking good compared to other games that we get. That's what I'm trying to like. Are Nintendo games that much better than everybody else, where they can just like make a game and it sells itself?
Realistically, no.
How many?
It's nostalgia buying.
When was the last time we had a Mario game before Odyssey?
The last one before Odyssey,
like a core Mario game.
They did the new Super Mario Brothers remake on the Wii U. Before that it was actually no they did the Mario Brothers with the one with the cat.
Where you got the
outfit. The Wii U.
Yeah.
And then
I don't remember what that was called.
The original Wii had Galaxies 1 and 2.
So I would say 1 and 2 would have been the last ones that were true Mario games, right?
Well, the cat one was a core
Cat
Mario title. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Super Mario 3. No, Super Mario.
It's not
New Super Mario Brothers U.
No, not that one. I wouldn't call that a core. I would say the Galaxy or whatever it is, where you're on the planets and all that stuff. That would be probably the last one.
Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah, which would have been the last one on Wii, correct?
I guess the last full open world one.
Yeah, full open world one was like that. So we waited a long amount of time in between. Now, here's your thing. Call of Duty. How often do we get it?
Oh my God, every year. I mean,
how often do we get an Assassin's Creed?
We've talked about that so many times, though. The annual releases
but again,
are
like they can go 7 years without making a main title and be fine.
Yes, they can.
Because you can do the same thing with Call of Duty. Because you could do if you do Call of Duty and you told them we're not releasing another one for 3 years, you could go an entire year without ever dropping the price of it.
Yeah, and then people would have an incentive to
maybe
invest into that game because you don't have to worry about okay, what's coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
But here's why Call of Duty does that though, and Assassin's Creed same thing, is because they can consistently churn out new games and people will continuously buy them. So that one copy that you wanted those people to invest the $60 in and wait the 4 years. Well, why would you do that if they'll buy a $60 game this year, a $60 game next year, a $60 game the year after that, and then that other $60 game that you wanted them to wait for?
You know what my argument on that one is?
Quality.
GTA 5.
I mean, I agree with you. I am obviously on your side about it. It's still the number one on most 100%.
Lists in Europe. GTA 5 continues to sell, and we're not gonna have 6 for probably another 2 years.
But it's because in cases like that, those players will invest hardcore into that game, and also Rockstar has really shitty practices about banning people, so they have to rebuy the game every time they get banned, even if they didn't do anything, because their cheat system is garbage. So that's part of what motivates those resells on that, is people having to buy.
Yeah, but I doubt there's that many people cheating.
I doubt it, but I also don't understand how
brand new games coming out.
I don't understand how people how there's even a single person, like a single grandma in the world that doesn't own that game with as many copies as it sold though. I feel like there's something wrong with that algorithm.
Same thing with Skyrim, but
yeah, there you go.
I mean, everyone owns Skyrim.
Like if you think about it, they can keep making Call of Duty games, one, because they just recycle it, and two, they're just bloating their company's portfolio with bad games, and hopefully people will buy them. Whereas companies like Nintendo, it's like, okay, we're going to put our portfolio with good games. We're going to release really good games each time, so whenever anybody wants to buy one, you're getting something good. Call of Duty, it's like a fucking dartboard. You don't know what you're going to get with it each time.
Well, but when did that happen? When they went from a 3-year cycle to a yearly cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think the last one that we all think is was good was maybe Modern Warfare 2.
Also, they're too afraid to take risks too. Like they're too afraid. Like I mean, when Nintendo did Breath of the Wild, they were like, hey, look at this, we're gonna do Skyrim with Legend of Zelda, and everybody's like, wow, okay, this is actually really fucking good. And then you got companies like Activision who are like, we're just going to stay safe. We're not going to make anything different. We're just going to focus on this game every year. And I have no idea how those companies stay in business constantly.
No idea.
It's just mind-boggling. Anyway, I hate to get us off track, but...
this whole show is off track.
Speaking of... actually, I got a good segue for this. Speaking of companies that have old titles or like old namesakes to keep them moving forward into the future. Halo could have done the same thing because it's such a damn staple of the gaming world. Like, I mean, you think video games, you played them, that Halo game thing that from back then? Yeah, Halo could have sold itself with no help. So we're gonna go ahead and flame them a little bit too because of this article. Halo Infinite will have, and I have no idea what they mean by this, kind of do, AAA player investment experience.
It's the new word for microtransaction because we've turned microtransaction into a dirty word.
Yeah. So, and this is irritating as shit to me because I'm a huge Halo fan.
Yeah, and preach it.
And seeing this shit right here, like, irritates the fuck out of me. And as I said on Twitter the other day, AAA experience does not include fucking microtransactions. We had AAA experiences way before there was ever microtransactions in our goddamn games. Please, on Earth, please stop saying AAA means it has to have microtransactions onto it.
It doesn't.
Or that's what makes it shit. It doesn't have to be a service either.
Well, I mean, you know that Halo inherently is going to come with a multiplayer mode. Like, that, I guess, is the service side of it, and that's fine. And I guess...
But Halo 3, Halo 2, like, you fucking threw it out into the ocean, and then that motherfucker floated on its own, and the community carried it across the fucking world.
Halo had an amazing storyline, which is kind of what I'm hoping we'll get to revisit once we get to Infinite again, where it's this amazing story that we can really invest in again. But I think that every company nowadays looks at it and goes, what do we do with the multiplayer and how can we make them spend money? It is not about what story do we tell and how do we get this story to resonate with the players. There's a story, yeah, but what do we do about the multiplayer? Because that's where everybody's going to spend time and money. That's what people do now, right?
But to be fair, Halo is the one that started that. Because Halo 2, when it had its DLC, it had its map pack. So you would go into GameStop and you would go pick up your map pack, or if you had the brand new Xbox Live at the time, right? Then you could download it that way. And right now we're dealing with an opportunity for them to turn around and go, look, the only thing we're going to charge for is map packs. And if I remember correctly, the map packs were only like $30 or something like that. They were half the price of the game, like $20.
I think it was like $15 to $20 for...
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot. It was basically enough to cover the pack. And so you create it that way. And then if you want to market it, you go back to the old school way of marketing. Because I'm sorry, as he just said, everybody knows the game of Halo. Those toys sold like fucking crazy. People knew the game. Yep. Yes. Shirt. Like, I mean, for the longest time on my old vehicle, I had the legendary symbol on the back of mine. I mean, it's like... I absolutely love the game. I love to play the game.
A case full of Spartans, like the action figures, in the other room, and we were lucky enough to find Spartans that actually had our armor on and everything. I mean, I think that's one of the best things about stuff like that is you market that kind of stuff, and it's not the cheap, frivolous crap that you would market to like the Fortnite kids. And if you're a Fortnite player and you're like going, I'm 30 and I play Fortnite, I'm not talking about you, okay? Stop it. I'm talking about the fact that you can go and buy like all of the little foam crap and stuff. But yeah, you market the right things and you make it personal to me because I had to work to unlock my Hayabusa armor. And then I found an orange Hayabusa. That. Like, I was attached to that because I earned it to start with. Yeah. And then I could go to the store and buy something that looked like me, you know?
Yep.
Which was, you know, still a stretch because you couldn't get all of them in all of the colors and all of the armors. But I was lucky.
We could always repaint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chicken got lucky too because we found one that was gray that had his too. So those are cake toppers for our wedding.
They were. I don't understand why these developers are so disconnected with the community. If Halo Infinite came out with no microtransactions, a huge multiplayer, tons of unlockables, tons of stuff to do, that motherfucker would outsell the
It's
other
because it's
Halos.
corporate now. They have disconnected from their player base to connect with their shareholders instead. And the shareholders don't care about the player base. They care about the dollars the player base should be spending, not the fact that they can't make infinite money forever and ever and that you can't monetize literally everything because it's not going to work like that. I mean, there's a saturation point, But the shareholder side of that do not understand it. Yes,
I mean,
we've hit
it's
critical
eventually
mass.
going to like a lot of the big AAA companies are eventually just going to be like, we can't sustain ourselves anymore.
Well, I mean, you're already seeing
it'll
that
probably
with
come
games,
to a pop
though.
eventually.
Because but you're seeing it already. The biggest game with the most monetization in it is Fortnite, and it is on the downward slope because they've hit a max saturation of what you can monetize, what people spend money on, and how you can design the game to get them to spend more. They've capped out on how much they're spending on that. So they're not going to continue to just fork thousands of dollars a year into your free-to-play game, especially if you're making choices that don't fit their play styles. And I'm not saying that means that players are entitled to control the games, but I'm saying that you should listen to your base. Sea of Thieves, we talked about this earlier, Rare. Sea of Thieves had a whole list where it's like, guys, we want to work on stuff, but we want to see where you're at on what you want us to prioritize, and then they've kind of gone through it with that to see how things can work. And when Sea of Thieves does release monetization items, like things that you can go and purchase, I guarantee you they're going to do great. They're going to do amazing. Oh, yeah. Because it'll be, one, stuff people want, and two, the players who are still playing.
There's a reason I play the game as much as I do.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that their team listens.
Is it because you could be connected to it? Is it because the developers are open? They constantly give you updates. They go with the community feedback. Like, they were planning on putting microtransactions a couple months after the game released. They put in fishing, which was highly requested, before the microtransactions a year and a half later.
Yep.
Like, the developers over there, I wish I could clap loud enough for them to hear, because they are doing it right.
Yeah.
And one of the things they did too is, and they admitted this, they're like, look, we tried pets, but we didn't like the way they worked. So we're going to go back. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to introduce those anytime soon.
Yep.
And so they took them out of they didn't release them because they tested them out and decided that's not what they wanted, because they wanted the quality to be the level that they expected us to do. You know why Rare is called Rare? Because they're rare in this fucking industry right now.
Apparently friggin' so, man.
Apparently. Like,
it's hard to find a company that listens as well to their player base as that one. And they're not the only ones. There are other companies out there that definitely listen to what their players want and everything. I think Gears of War, the Coalition, has done a pretty good job with their core, because they have a really hardcore Gears multiplayer community. And they listen a lot to their community, too. What they like, what they don't like, how things are going. I mean, that community is super pumped about Gears 5. And it is, I think it's right around the corner, and we haven't heard as much about it. But I've seen, like, because I follow a couple of people that are really invested in that community on Twitter. I've seen the hype for that because they're so excited about the company that actually listens to them. Every game that has multiplayer should have huge core subsets of these people that are super amped because they know that their voice matters to the company that they support. But they don't. It's few and far between. I mean, Activision, the Call of Duty companies, those devs know that they're going to turn out a new one all the time. I know it's 3 studios, which means they get a couple of years break in between, or 4. Is it 3 or 4? It's 3, right?
2.
It's 2 now?
1. Well,
it used to be 3. There was Infinity Ward, Treyarch,
you get one,
whatever the other one was. Sledgehammer, yeah.
I think it's Sledgehammer. Yeah, so you get 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, and then
you come back. But they knew that their cycle was gonna, and like, yeah, they would kind of listen a little bit, but they're already, once they've shoved out 1 game, they're already in the development cycle for the next. Like, there's no time to listen to you in this.
Right.
So, I It really is,
pretty
because
much.
that makes the most money. It's the most efficient way to shove out content on a regular basis to make that regular dollar. You're going to spend $60 this year. You're going to spend $60 this year. You're going to spend, every time.
Yeah.
We don't have time to listen to you, though. Sucks to be you guys.
Yeah. I mean, games are art. You can't... Well,
Not anymore. Now they are a product.
If you can profit off of anything, then you will profit off of it as much as you can. It doesn't matter who you step on or who you push through to make it constantly happen. Anyway, let's move on to the next.
Speaking of stepping on people.
Yeah.
A company that we thought actually supported its entire fan base and listened to its entire fan base. So it seems as though, as we talked about last week, we did talk about last week.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Submatto and all that stuff.
Submatto, his channel has been removed
from
YouTube because of the battle because of the battle between him and 2K, and 2K...
It is not even between him and 2K. It is specifically on 2K's side. He's like, I'll do what you want. Like, he's been very cooperative in this whole scenario. He took down the video they didn't like. They said he leaked a bunch of stuff that he didn't. He was just talking about it because it was there. But he's acquiesced to, like, all of their requests. And they're just kind of... It's one of those kicking him while he's down kind of things. Like, he's already down. He got down on his own, you guys. Stop kicking him. Why are you doing this?
You don't have to shoot him while he's down, people. I mean, because this is what they did. They did not kick him. They shot him while he was down.
Yep.
He lost his YouTube channel that he's been working on
because they had
for
over
years.
100 copyright strikes against him. Like, basically, they went and claimed all of his videos. Literally every single one for copyright purposes. And
how long has his channel been up? How long has he been doing
several
these
years.
Things?
Like, he's been doing this
and
since
one of the
early
biggest
Borderlands
pusher as ever. Like, he basically, if you call him anything, he is a super fan. Like, this
yeah.
guy
100%.
lives, breathes, eats Borderlands. And then the company that he supports so vehemently decided to go ahead and kick him, knock him down, and then shoot him, and he loses his channel and pretty much everything for nothing.
Let's make this clear. It's one of the companies that he supported. It's all on 2K, which is the publisher in this case.
2K.
Not that Gearbox is innocent of anything. I mean, obviously they're not, but Gearbox didn't have anything to do with this part of it. This was all on 2K's side of it. So
I don't believe that. I guarantee somebody at Gearbox was getting a little pissy about it and was like, "Hey, big man, you need to go take care of him." And then he stuck 2K on him.
Well,
because I guarantee 2K isn't gonna give that much of a fuck about a YouTube
2K
channel.
and Take-Two. I mean, it's... Well, that's not true. They did the same thing to the modder that was developing 5M for GTA 5 several years ago. They did the same thing to him. So
and
it is something that company
who went to them and told them to go take care of it.
I don't know.
Because what's easier? Do you want Rockstar's name in the fucking headlines? Because like we've said before, people are so fucking blind that they look at 2K and they're like, "Oh yeah, 2K sucks," and then they'll go and buy Borderlands because they don't realize that Gearbox
that's one of the things
is
that
underneath
I saw.
2K.
I saw that a lot in some of the comment sections on some of the articles that covered that, and then also just some of the Twitter stuff, where it's like, "Oh, you shouldn't boycott Borderlands 3. It's not Epic's, or it's not Epic's. It's not Gearbox's fault. They didn't have anything to do with it. You need to support Gearbox." If you continue to buy the game, you are supporting both. That is a codependent relationship. And if you are supporting one, you are supporting the other. I'm sorry.
See, that's why they just used, like, I guarantee Rockstar and Gearbox use 2K to deal with their problems so they don't have to get their hands dirty.
I also think
it's a smart business decision. It's
one of those things where some of the people I saw arguing were like, "Yeah, that guy was totally in the wrong. Why would he spoil all of those surprises for us?" He didn't spoil anything. It was stuff that was brought to him, and he made a thing about it. So basically, he was doing journalistic stuff. At that point, he's just delivering. You shot the messenger.
He was just reporting what he heard.
And two, it's not the public's job to keep your secrets. If you as a company make something public and the public finds it, don't go, "Oh my God, you weren't supposed to see that." That's like building a statue and then being like, "Don't look at the thing we're building until it's done." But it's in the middle of town. And it's taller than every other building in town. Well, what do you want me to do? It's right here. That's your fault.
Go blind every time you look in that general direction.
I guess so. Like, I don't understand the mindset of people who are like, "Well, he shouldn't have spoiled it." It wasn't a spoiler if the company put it out there, you idiot. That's why you're gonna buy that game, because you're stupid. Sorry, I told you to hold on to the volume button, didn't I?
Yeah. Like, this whole week of shit is just ridiculous from these companies. It is. But I mean, they're just getting away with what we let them get away with. So.
Oh yes, because they'll have all of those people who are like, "He shouldn't have spoiled it." That'll be right there to buy it anyway. Game's gonna be huge. Won't matter.
Yep.
Won't matter at all. Same thing with Halo Infinite. It's gonna be huge.
They could shoot somebody out on the street, and then everybody'd be like, "Oh, it was his fault. I'm still gonna buy their game." It's like, did you not see that? They could come in and rob you, and then you would still buy their game because they needed it more than I did.
Yeah, they needed it more than I did would be the exact.
They needed it more than I did, so I let them take it.
This is what we need to happen. What needs to happen on this is Submato, if he doesn't get his regular channel stuff back, he needs to contact THQ Nordic, and they need to allow him to do any game that he does and promote the shit out of him. Done.
I mean, I really feel like
as
at
long
this
as
point
they don't pass it by what's his name.
I think that he was so traumatized that we're probably not going to hear from Submeadow for a long time. Like, I imagine maybe in a year or two he might come back, if then. But I think that this has been so traumatic that I can completely understand him stepping away from it altogether. Being like, my Twitter's already gone, my Discord's gone, they took my YouTube channel, I just don't care anymore. I'm gonna wash my hands of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being on one of the gaming websites of some sort and doing reviews and stuff of that type of thing, because he already knows the industry, and he's already got a personality and something that people know.
But I could see something like this burning him from like, I could see him being like, you know what, my other hobby was astronomy, I'm just gonna go into that field instead. I just picked a random one. I don't know anything about Submeadow's personal life, but I mean, I could see this kind of something this big completely ruining the entire industry for him, and him being like, you know what, I'll play games casually on my own when I feel like it, but other than that, I'm never gonna work for this side of the stuff again. I don't want to risk it, you know.
Yeah, I hate it too, because as supportive as he was for their franchises.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the real like last straws is you really went after somebody that was one of the biggest proponents of what you were doing and the content you were making, and completely overlooking some of the crappy stuff that Gearbox was doing. He was still hyping that game and everything. I mean, honestly, you guys should have been looking at him as doing the Lord's work for you. But whatever. Sure.
Yeah, no, free advertising? Holy shit.
Yep. But sure,
but
whatever. I guess
they don't
that's...
want that. I mean...
Yep. So...
Which is surprising. I mean, when you got somebody like Gearbox that doesn't like to pay for people to even act in their games.
Part of me wonders if... I mean, they're doing all this crazy stuff on like very 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 loose grounds of anything. I kind of wonder if there's a lawyer out there that would be like, oh hey, yeah, I'll come to your defense for pro bono or whatever. We'll sue the hell out of these guys because they basically ruined his life.
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely did.
I would definitely take legal action on that. But at the same time, that company has intimidated him so far at this point that he may just be afraid to bother with it. Like, maybe, he may be looking at it as it's being more trouble than it's really worth in the end.
Either that, or he's gotten angry to the point that he will. Because I think that the biggest point too, like if you're from a legal standpoint, you turn around and you go, okay, look, you're looking at 2K and going, did you not know this channel existed? Well, yeah, we did. He's been doing this for years, right? And it goes, yeah, for years, and it goes, okay, he had however many subscribers. And turn around and they go, all right, so all these people were watching, he's been advertising, he's been promoting your game, everything else that goes along with it, and now you choose to take his livelihood because he said something that you didn't care for?
Yeah. I mean, you waited this long, you knew what he was about and what he was doing as far as content creation, and you waited years to copyright claim those? Really?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be different if he was a YouTuber that had blown up overnight because of this leak or whatever, and then all of a sudden it had caught their attention and immediately they were copywriting his stuff. But he's been doing this for years and he's been a big part of the community, which means he's known by everybody who works on these things. Like, most people that are into Borderlands have watched at least one or two Submeadow videos, whether they realize it or not. Like, all eyes have been on that. The people who make those games know that exists. But whatever, It is what it is. Let's end on something happy though. We'll talk about something nice and then.
There's another one that I wanted to talk about. I couldn't find the article for it, but it's the b.r.u.t.e thing that we talked about earlier, Grif. The Epic Games where he was asking, Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys
the Fortnite
story.
stuff, man.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think about it until just recently because this is actually a really good one to shine a little more light on how shitty Epic Games is. Because
you guys keep talking. I'll be right back. Just keep going.
Okay, so.
Bye.
b.r.u.t.e is a game on Steam that just at the end of July 27th, released announced his release date for his game. It's called b.r.u.t.e. August 15th. Game's coming out. It's been on the top 50 Steam wish list, which is a pretty popular game. So Epic sends him an email and says, "Hey, we want your game on Epic Game Store exclusive," and he replies, I'll put it on the Epic Game Store, but I'm not really looking to exclusivity because I just announced to my Steam community, and they have been super supportive of me, and I'm not going to do this to them. And they replied, well, we appreciate your reply, but we're not looking to do multi-store games currently. Which, if anybody knows, Tim Sweeney has tweeted out in early July that he is happy these games are becoming multi-platform, when the email specifically says they are not looking to do multi-platform. So a little contradictory. And apparently, so it seems like Epic is watching the Steam wish list with their Steam spy, because the guy who made it works for Epic now, and is watching the wish list things and are trying to poach the games off of there before they get released.
Wow,
that's
crazy.
Really
but we kind of, I mean, we've touched on that before, that we kind of thought that's what was going on with it. We thought that it was one of those where, they wanted things that were exclusive to them that you weren't going to be able to get on Steam, and they're trying to, the way that they're doing it is taking care of those top 15, top 10, whatever, and trying to bring them over, and it's just like stupid. Just stupid to be able to do it that way.
Does that mean we should go through and like the games no one really wants, like
put them on the Steam wish list?
Yeah, and then when they get poached.
Yeah, it'd be like sending over one of those bags filled with dog poop. Here you go, you can have this one.
Flaming bags.
I would almost, if you could doctor it in some way and you were Valve, you almost want to set it up to where you go, okay, well, we're just going to doctor this so these are the top 15 games, and they're like the ones that nobody wants, that are, with those little fly-by-night games or whatever that are like going to be fucked anyway. They're not really good games. Or you find a kind of a shitty early access game and have Epic throw money at it in order to bring it over.
Yep. I mean, I just feel like this kind of gives us a little better view into what Epic is really trying to do, because he was willing to put his game on the Epic Store too. He's like, that's fine, I can put your game over there, or I'll put my game over there. That's perfectly fine. They're like, no, it's not what we're looking to do right now. It's like, okay, you're not looking to make, let's see what this guy said. So it's not about having games on their store, it's about a monopoly when selling said games. Mm-hmm. They're not interested in bettering the platforms that we have. They're looking to monopolize their own specific platform, and this definitely proves it without a doubt that they are.
Which this goes back to the fact that Epic is the Sony of freaking PC.
Yes,
because Sony now first party. Don't get me wrong, that you sell that shit all day, all you want to on your own platform, and keep it that way. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But when you're buying exclusivities for your particular platform, that's where I have a problem with it every time, because you're trying to preach we're all about the gamer, we got better gaming, prove it. Prove you have better gaming.
They don't.
The way you do that is to make a product that makes your game system better. And they just, I cannot believe Epic continues to be able to hand out money hand over fist. The amount of people bitch and complain and moan and everything else, and people still take the money.
Because the money.
Well,
I guess.
You get offered a lot of money.
Is that it covers your game. Like, you're gonna make at least enough to have sold X amount of games, whether you sell X amount of games or not, and that looks so nice to a lot of devs who are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to sell that many. So,
but then that shows the lack of confidence in their own game. Like, how? But it also,
especially when you have over 1,000 people that are Patreon supporters helping you with your game on one particular case.
And then you turn and backstab them too.
Yep, because you're going to get more money than what they would have.
And then like with Shenmue, you've got Kickstarter that made over $3 million. Plus you have Sony's money on top of that. Come on.
Yeah,
it's just excuse after excuse after excuse. You're gonna make a shit ton of money on Sony alone.
It's money. It all boils down to everybody wants more money. So,
always greed is the base.
And always take the sure bet. I guess is what they're looking at it as. Like, I don't know if I'm going to sell 1,500 copies. Well, I'll take their money because they say I will.
That actually is perfect because, people don't make they don't take risk on games anymore. They just make what's safe and they know will sell, like Call of Duty.
Movies do the same shit nowadays, too.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, look at it's all Marvel. Like, for Disney, it's just all Marvel and remakes of the old movies. Like, I mean, I think they might make the
Marvel movies are at least new territory and content. I mean, it is still a safe zone.
It's definitely the safe zone now.
But beforehand it wasn't. But
Star Wars 2.
The whole thing of like the Disney live action remakes, it's just like that's kind of where I'm starting to draw the line on it.
Well, they have three profiles that they have. They have the Star Wars, which they will continuously make money on, or continuously make. They have the Marvel movies, which they will continuously make, and then they have their own Disney movies that they will continue to make. I don't think we'll ever see a fourth genre from them.
Like another original genre, or
like an original genre, something different that they've never done.
Remakes. I mean, a lot of studios are like that now. I mean, look at Sony and Ghostbusters now. It's like, well, we screwed up with the newest one, so let's go back and try this again because Ghostbusters.
It's like we're probably missing out on some of the greatest films to be thought of because those people that are working on them are being pushed down to make sure that whatever they make is safe. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't want to take risks. They just want what will work, period. Like, I mean,
sometimes there are movies and stuff that are out there. They don't get as much commercial appeal, which that's part of the problem too. I'll give you an example. I know a friend of mine that is working on a current Amazon Prime show that's pretty popular. But works in a financial department that's on there, and literally they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everyone that works on the set. Everyone. Now think of your job that you do on a daily basis where you might have to bring your food, you might have to go get food, whatever. So a lot of the expenses that like TV shows and movies cost a shit ton of money, and a lot of it has to do with the amount of food that they're trying to feed everybody that's there, which is fine because a lot of times they're for hours at a time.
A decent wage and then have them go get their own food.
Well, those people do make a lot more money than you do.
I mean, unless they're like standing behind them, cracking the whip, and don't let them leave.
Depending on what they're doing, if they're filming on location, they've got.
That's fair.
That industry is kind of a standout. It's hard to look at that and equate it to a lot of other industries.
But my point is the fact that the cost alone, which is something we don't think about when we think about the amount of food that they have to eat for everybody that's there. It's like, I'm not really bitching about that. I'm just saying that the cost is so expensive. So if you have something that's like a small independent movie or whatever, you're not going to have that opportunity necessarily to be able to feed the entire crew. But where you have something like Marvel that's $1 billion industry, yes, you're going to have to continue to roll that out in order to be able to make it happen. Same with Star Wars; it's continual. It's going to make billions of dollars.
I don't mind the safe things for the extra money, but it just seems like all the companies that's the only thing they want to do. That's like they don't want to take any more risk. Period.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing that the game companies are doing, and we've talked about this before, because Microsoft uses a lot of their money from their big blockbuster stuff to feed back into the smaller stuff, like their ID program and everything. Yeah, and then allow them to have the money to take risks. And we just need that to be kind of more globally applied instead of it just being like, look what Microsoft's doing. Anybody else take that route?
I mean, it's a good method to have. You feed into your smaller companies. You let them try out and make new things and see what works. Because, hell, you never know if you're going to stumble upon the next Halo. Mm-hmm. Like, an indie developer is making something, and it seems to resonate with a lot of people. They release it, and then it just blows up, and everybody just goes right to it.
Well, I think that's why you have. Like
Sea of Thieves,
Microsoft buying up a bunch of different studios and stuff too. Yeah. It's because they see the potential in those particular companies and they can feed them in and help them do whatever. Where Epic is just buying a game.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Yeah, they're buying the game and not the company. They're not investing back into that company. They're just proliferating. And eventually Epic's going to run out of money too, because the Fortnite gravy train's going to slow up. You're going to have a lot of people who are going to stop buying the exclusive content and either wait the year for it to come out or buy it on a console, because all they're doing is buying PC exclusivity. They're not necessarily buying complete exclusivity. So a lot of the other games that they've got, people are like, well, I'll just buy it for PS4 or Xbox One. You know, I don't have to own it on your platform. Stop trying to force my hand. I don't like your business practices. Stop trying to force my hand. Whatever. There's other ways to obtain those things in a lot of cases. Or, you know, you just skip out on it. So eventually Epic's going to run out of money because they are not investing any of that back. They're just throwing it out right now, with the expectation that they will eventually be the new Steam, which is exactly what they want. They want to be the only platform you go to because you've purchased all of your exclusive games through them, and now all of your games are here and not here anymore.
I need a shopping cart before that can ever happen.
you can't buy more
that
than
store
5
needs
games.
a lot of stuff before that should happen.
Hey, guess what? They're adding the cloud service now.
To some games.
To some games?
To some of them. And then some of them,
like
they ended
Nintendo?
up rolling that back. Yeah. But still no shopping cart. You know, whatevs.
So weird.
Who needs a cart when you have a cloud?
Exactly.
Can we talk about a good thing now?
Anyway, okay, so one of my favorite games when I was younger, this is THQ Nordic, of course. Both of these are by THQ Nordic, and we'll never forget how dumb they were with the whole AMA thing.
Mark said.
Don't forget.
It was just one guy.
Mark said it was okay.
One guy. Fuck that guy. Remember, we're critical of everybody, even the ones that we like. But THQ Nordic hires Time Splitters co-creator to work on the franchise's return, which means we might be seeing a Time Splitters HD collection, which will be cool as hell. I spent plenty of my youth in Time Splitters. Plenty.
I love Time Splitters.
Yes, it is just out there. To say the very least, it is out there. And it's a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what they can redo, because when was the last time we got a Time Splitters game? Let me check the...
A while.
PS2 original Xbox era.
20 years?
Ooh.
Latest release, Time Splitters Future Perfect, March 21st, 2005. So almost 15 years ago.
That's,
Damn.
It's gonna be
it's
interesting.
nice that they get the co-creator, so at least the vision will stay the same of what it was. Probably just a future version of it.
I love the fact that THQ Nordic's like, we'll just buy everything.
Yeah, I mean they're throwing a lot of money around too, but they're throwing it at studios so that they can continue to work on things that people want. You know.
They're becoming a massive publisher is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're just owning all the studios that come along with it, which is fantastic. Where Epic is just going, meh, I want a game.
They also aren't prosecuting YouTubers. Sorry, carry on.
And
chicken.
they have officially bought Gunfire Games, which are the ones who made Remnants from Ash, and I think they're the ones that made Darksiders.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Gunfire Games is officially part of THQ now. Like they licensed it out and was like, all right, guys, go ahead and make Darksiders. We'll see how it does. Oh wow, it did really well. Okay, you can join us now. So now they get a seat at the big kids table. Yes. Well, Remnant did. Well, I assume it's going to do pretty well too, and it's only $40. Again, I mean, THQ Nordic is like one of the few companies we can actually look at, even with their blemish. Don't forget, and it's actually doing well for the games.
Everyone gets them.
Yeah, everybody gets them. And with that, they also announced a new game, which Grif is a little excited about.
They confirmed that they were working on a new game.
We knew that they were working on it, but now it's
there was a question as to whether or not it would be. But Saints Row's getting a new game. I mean, after 4, it was really one of those things where it's like, where can they go with this? What can they do? And I actually have been talking to a couple of people.
They might just reboot the series then.
I don't know. I don't think you can reboot that series because some of the stuff that they did in the early versions of those games are stuff that you would not do now. Like, I don't think you could reboot that and still have it successfully feel like Saints Row. It wouldn't be the same. I think what we are going to do, and I'll tell you my theory. I know you want to say something really bad. What do you want to say?
I was going to say they could reboot from 3 and on, or 2 and on.
Yeah, but I think that then you still have that problem of it's got an established history that you want it to keep, especially since that history is harkened back to in Saints Row 4.
True, but you got to be careful because they've escalated it so much.
They've
what the hell are you
escalated
gonna
it.
do
Here's
in the
my
fifth
thought.
one? Just blow everything up?
Here's my theory,
Boom.
though. Is we established by the end of 4, and if you haven't played Saints Row 4, it's been several years now. I'm sorry. I mean, originally I think it came out on the 360, and then they had the versions for Xbox One and PS4. So you've had plenty of time. Sorry. But at the end of that, you realize that Earth is gone, but you have a time travel function, so you can jump back and forth, and they go on adventures, like wacky adventures through time, essentially. And I think what that's going to lead into, my theory, is that Kenzie, who's one of your shipmates and the smartest person ever, she lost somebody really important to her when Earth got blown up. And I think that that was a real catalyzing moment for her. I think that she is going to realize, because she's so smart, that she's got this time jumpy thing, and right now we're just using it for funsies, but couldn't we use it to reverse time completely and save the Earth completely, thus saving the person that she lost? Which is why it gets wacky, because you're not supposed to do that sort of thing, and that creates all sorts of time paradoxes. And what happens when you run into the people, like your clones, essentially, because you're trying to time travel back, which means you still existed in the previous timeline. So I think that's where we go with it. Wacky doppelgangers.
That just creates alternate timelines.
It creates a lot of problems that are only solvable by having a giant dildo bat and a dubstep gun. I'm just saying.
I mean, you'll have to go back with the mechanics because you can't have the superpowers like you did. So
I think my thought process to make it kind of zany and soft reboot, like what you were talking about, but a softer reboot than going we're rebooting the series, is it will send you too far back, and you will have to redo some of the things that you did in previous games with current mechanics, but with your boss's knowledge of it, where it's like, oh, well, I know how this is going to go, and see what happens when you try to change the timeline. Because if you just start changing the timeline, you start really messing everything up.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're asking for spiderweb effects from this one.
Well, I think that what we have to end up with is, that's gone, we can't fix it, and that sucks. But that's the moral of the story.
Or if you save someone, they die anyway, just randomly. It's like, yay, I saved you. Okay. I guess I can't change time? Hello? Am I just in this?
Saints Row, Adventure in Time.
Well, my thought is that I've heard space
Adventures in Time.
Adventures in Space, and I'm like, yeah, I think that'd be a neat idea, but I think that you also run into, we've already done alien tech, so how much alien tech can we really get into?
Maybe they just crash land on a whole new planet.
Yeah.
And they've got to rebuild. It's Earth 2.0.
But I really think it's going to be built. I think it's going to have more to do with the time travel.
Like in his vision. A whole planet built in his vision. Or her vision.
I smell Fable 3 again, where it becomes more about politics on the building shit.
Nah, I don't think so. Saints Row is definitely trying to go more wacky than it is poignant, but I think that they've got heartfelt moments in it, which is why it resonates with people, is because amid all of the crazy chaos, there are some real, like, deep things happening in some of the storyline. Not all of it. Don't try to argue this fact with me. I understand how ridiculous it is, but it has nuggets of real heartfelt moments in there. So,
which is weird because the series, well, it started out like being super serious.
Well, it was not super serious because I remember there being like there was some ridiculous stuff in it, but it was a GTA clone.
And in comparison to 4, it's
It was supposed to be a GTA.
The second one, they started adding a little bit more wacky and crazy, but it still had like plenty of serious moments and everything.
Yes,
in it.
But it definitely had wacky
stuff. Through 3, they just kind of went, fuck it. Let's just go with this.
Well, it's because GTA had established what it was at that point, and you could not be a GTA clone anymore. You had to be something standalone that would make your series different from GTA. At that point, you had to be able to differentiate it, and that's what they did. Was like, well, let's just make some really outrageous shit happen. How outrageous can we be?
The opening to 3 sets the tone for the rest of the game, which I think is fantastic.
It does.
I never finished 3.
Do you have it on PC? Do you want to play it? I'll play it.
I don't think I do.
Baka? I'll get it.
Should be cheap.
I'll go look.
Well, we'll have to.
Baka, why did you never say this before?
I have in the past.
Oh my god!
Anyway, we're at an hour and a half, so we should probably wrap this thing up.
Yes, let's wrap it up so that I can go look at Steam.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. Do you want to do your disclaimer?
My disclaimer. What's my disclaimer about? I've forgotten.
Red Dead.
Oh yeah, I'm still working on Red Dead, and I was really torn about that because of the stuff with Take-Two and 2K, and they published it. So I'm still gonna be making Red Dead videos because I've already purchased the game and I'm already in the series of Let's Plays, and I don't want people to be let down by not being able to see the rest of it. But that doesn't mean that I support what 2K is doing. Obviously, I mean, at this point, I would probably be super hesitant to buy any game that they have worked on in the future, but this is something that I've already purchased. To be fair, though, I did purchase it through Gamefly, which is purchasing it secondhand. So I don't know if that makes it any better or not. Probably not. But I will get back to work on that. I will be recording at least 3 episodes today. I'm sorry it has been less lately. It's just been, summer's really hectic, and it just got to the point where I am super stressed out. I had to take some breaks. I'm sorry. But that's where we're at. So don't think that me playing Red Dead on my YouTube channel is me supporting 2K's actions when I've been very openly adversarial towards them, especially today and last week. I'm just doing it so that everybody still gets to see the rest of the game. And then we're gonna not do that again.
Fair enough.
Thanks for reminding me because I had forgotten.
No problem. We appreciate everyone that hangs out with us each and every week on Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at b.r.u.t.e. Check out Grif.
At Grif's
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel that she was just talking about to check out the Red Dead Redemption 2. You start from the beginning. If you haven't been, just go there, start from the beginning,
it's a
work
long
your way
game,
through.
and I try to be
like
really
4 years from now, you'll be where you need to be. It works out really good.
And I know when we get to like October, I'll play at least one scary game. So there'll be a break of Red Dead, but you know,
a little bit of variety going on. Mm-hmm. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313. Check out what you got this week.
Probably just Overwatch. I just want to get through this week. Next week is where the fun really begins.
Maybe some Teamfight Tactics. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe some TFT. I don't know. I'm just going to try to move through this week as fast as possible.
Awesome.
Okay.
But I can't seem to make time go by faster. Nope.
Also, make sure you go to mixer.com/MDB-Oaktree, where you can watch me just about every single day, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. And this week, I will be playing, of course, Remnant, as well as a little bit of Destiny 2. I'll have 1 day of Destiny 2, and the rest will be Remnant, because there'll be a lot of that. And I kind of want to break that up. After playing that last night, I realized I could not sit down and do this every single day without having a break in between. So we're going to make that happen. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.